Nathan Brooks was a visionary in green energy, building empires from glass and solar in Portland. But one thing he never built was a family. On a stormy night, a 13-year-old delivery boy named Finn slipped in the rain and dropped something that shattered Nathan's world. A birth certificate with Nathan's name listed as the father. Memories flooded back. 13 years ago in San Francisco, he had loved a woman named Grace, a free-spirited environmentalist. But his ambition pulled him away, and she disappeared. Or so he thought. Now Grace is fighting a deadly lung disease, and Finn and his twin brother Leo are working to keep her alive. As rain pounds the city, Nathan takes action. He transfers Grace to the best hospital, brings the boys into his high-tech home, and tries to fill the years he lost. But when Grace's greedy uncle threatens custody, a legal storm brews. Will Nathan prove his devotion before it's too late? And can a piece of paper, a birth certificate, damp from the rain, become the bridge to a future they never thought possible? Subscribe to see this emotional journey unfold, where healing begins beneath the rain. Rain slid down the glass walls of Nathan Brooks' penthouse like quiet tears. The city below pulsed in gray, the neon lights of Portland's downtown blurring through the storm. Nathan sat alone in his sleek, ultra-modern kitchen, the hum of a nearby refrigerator the only sound besides the rain. He had everything: a successful green energy company, a reputation as a tech visionary, and a view that stretched for miles. But the silence felt heavier tonight. He looked across the marble counter at his untouched meal. His assistant had ordered from the usual vegan bistro, organic and neatly boxed. He hadn't asked for it. He rarely did anymore. Nathan got up, restless, and walked toward the front door as thunder rolled distantly. Maybe it was the weather, maybe the weight in his chest, but something pulled him to open the door himself instead of buzzing through the lobby. Outside stood a boy, soaked, shivering, no older than 13. His hoodie was drenched, the sleeves too long, and a red bike waited behind him, its basket full of compostable takeout bags. "Delivery for Nathan Brooks?" the boy said, his voice wavering from the cold. Nathan nodded. "That's me." As the boy reached into the basket, a small paper slipped from between two containers. It hit the wet doormat, half folded. Nathan bent to pick it up. It wasn't a receipt. It was an official birth certificate. He blinked. There, next to father's name, it read, Nathaniel James Brooks. His hands froze. The boy looked up, confused. "That's not part of the order." Nathan's voice was barely a whisper. "What's your name?" "Finn," the boy replied, stepping back a little. "Why?" Nathan couldn't speak. He stared at the paper again. His own name, printed in the government ink, stared back at him like a ghost. Finn's eyes narrowed. "Are you okay, sir?" Nathan finally looked at the boy. Dark, wet hair, strong cheekbones, something in his posture. Familiar. A chill that had nothing to do with the rain crept through Nathan's spine. "I just remembered something," Nathan murmured. "How old are you, Finn?" 13. My brother and I do deliveries to help Mom. She's sick. Real sick." Nathan swallowed hard, the room tilting slightly. "Your mom's name?" "Grace." The name landed like a stone. He hadn't heard it in over a decade. San Francisco, the conference on coastal wind infrastructure. A woman with wild curls, muddy boots, and eyes that made the whole world feel grounded. Grace. She'd stayed behind when he climbed the ladder. She never wrote. He never asked. Until now. Finn shifted awkwardly. "I gotta go. My brother's waiting at the next house." Nathan reached for his wallet but stopped. Do you know your dad?" Finn shrugged. "Nope. Mom never says. We just know he left before we were born." Before we were born. Twins. Nathan stepped into the rain, birth certificate still clenched in his hand. "Wait, can I talk to your mom?" Finn stared at him for a moment, then shook his head. "She's too tired. Doesn't talk to strangers. Look, I don't want trouble. Just keep the food. It's paid for." He turned and ran back to his bike. The tires splashed as he disappeared into the fog. Nathan stood there, the wind rising. He looked again at the certificate, at the name, at the line for mother, Grace Linwood. He'd been so sure she disappeared, that she had moved on, like he had. But now her son, their son, had just handed him the past like a dropped envelope. Back inside, Nathan sat heavily on the couch, the certificate in his lap. Outside, the rain blurred the lights of Portland. Inside, the truth had just landed on his doorstep. Damp, unexpected, and 13 years old. Nathan didn't sleep. The storm had passed, but inside his chest, a different kind of storm raged. He sat at his desk well past midnight, the crumpled birth certificate smoothed and laid flat under his fingertips. His name, bold, permanent, stared back at him. Father, Nathaniel James Brooks, Grace Linwood. The name pulled him into a memory like a current too strong to resist. It was 13 years ago, San Francisco, the Pacific Winds Environmental Conference. He remembered walking into the exhibit hall in a crisp suit, ready to pitch solar rooftops to city developers. But instead, he stopped, frozen by laughter that rang through the air like wind chimes. Grace had stood by a composting booth, holding a worm in one hand and a sandwich in the other. "You look too clean for this place," she had teased. "And you're holding lunch and dirt in the same hand," he had answered, smiling. They talked for hours that first day. She was all passion and wild ideas. Vertical farms, moss walls, bee sanctuaries. He was all spreadsheets and structure. But something about her shook him loose. They'd spent 2 months entangled in rooftop dinners, morning bike rides, and nights debating energy ethics under the stars, until his company landed its first national contract. He had to choose, and he chose ambition. Back in the present, Nathan leaned back, running both hands through his hair. I thought she moved on, but she hadn't. And now there were children. My children? He stood abruptly and walked to the living room. The rain had stopped, but the sidewalk outside still glistened under the streetlight. That's when he saw it. A small piece of paper tucked beneath his doormat. Folded, slightly damp. He knelt down and opened it. A drawing. Crayon on notebook paper. A tall man in a suit stood beside 2 boys holding takeout bags. All 3 smiled beneath a bright yellow sun. In shaky handwriting, "Thank you, sir, from Finn and Leo." Nathan stared at it. The boy had come back, left this. And with it, a thread, thin but undeniable, pulling him toward something real. He rushed to his tablet, pulled up the food delivery app, and tracked his last order. The address was listed in North Portland, a neighborhood he hadn't set foot in for years. He grabbed his coat. 10 minutes later, his Tesla rolled down a narrow, uneven street lit by flickering orange lamps. Potholes dotted the road, and chain-link fences lined the cracked sidewalks. Nathan slowed as he approached the pin on the map. A small duplex sat at the corner, faded paint peeling off the porch posts. He parked, sat for a long second, then stepped out. From inside, the muffled sound of coughing broke the night silence. A thin, hoarse, persistent cough. He knocked. No answer. He knocked again, softer. The door creaked open just enough to reveal a boy. Not Finn. This one had lighter eyes, curls cropped shorter, probably Leo. "Can I help you?" the boy asked, cautious. Nathan hesitated. I met your brother, Finn. He made a delivery to me earlier. Leo's expression tightened. "Mom's sleeping. She's sick." "I don't mean to intrude," Nathan said quickly. I think I might know your mom, from a long time ago. Her name's Grace, right?" Leo blinked, then slowly nodded. Nathan took a breath. "Can I come back tomorrow? I promise, I just want to talk to her. I think I might be someone important to her, and to you." Leo studied him. For a moment, Nathan thought he might slam the door. Instead, the boy said quietly, "You should come early. She doesn't breathe well after noon." Then the door closed. Nathan stood there for another moment, heart pounding. Behind him, in the dark window of the car, he saw his reflection, tired, pale, uncertain, and beneath his arm, the drawing still clutched in his hand. Two boys, one past, and maybe, just maybe, a future waiting to be mended. The next morning, Nathan stood on the porch of the duplex just after sunrise, a paper bag of warm muffins in one hand and Grace's name echoing in his chest. The air smelled like wet leaves and asphalt, and a squirrel darted past the fence. His breath fogged in the cold. He knocked gently. It was Finn who answered this time, rubbing his eyes, hair still messy from sleep. He froze when he saw Nathan. "You came back," Finn said. "I said I would," Nathan replied. "I brought breakfast." Finn looked over his shoulder, then stepped aside. "She's up, but not feeling great." Nathan walked in slowly. The living room was small. 2 mismatched chairs, a faded rug, and a fold-out couch made into a bed. Piles of medicine bottles lined the coffee table. Across from him, in the dim light, sat Grace. She looked older, thinner, but those eyes, still fierce, still full of fire, locked onto his, and for a moment, neither of them spoke. "I thought I was dreaming," she said softly, voice raspy, "but you're here." Nathan took a step closer. "Grace, I didn't know. I swear to you I didn't know about the boys." Her mouth twitched. "You didn't check your email." "I didn't even know there was one to check. I never got anything." She nodded bitterly. "Figures." He looked around, then knelt by her side. "Please, tell me what happened." Grace leaned back against the cushions, eyes flickering with exhaustion. "After San Francisco, I wrote to you. I sent everything to your company email. I even mailed letters, but after the third bounced reply in silence, I stopped trying." Nathan clenched his jaw. "I never saw any of it. I'm serious, Grace. I didn't choose to ignore you." She coughed into a tissue, then sighed. "Doesn't matter now. Life went on. The twins were born. I raised them the best I could." "They're incredible," Nathan said, voice low. "Polite, smart. Finn reminds me of me at that age." Grace let out a small laugh, then winced. "Leo's the sensitive one. Draws every morning before school. Keeps a notebook of trees and clouds. They keep me going." "Why didn't you tell them about me?" Nathan asked. Her gaze turned hard. "Because I didn't want them wondering why their father left. Why he never called. It was easier to let them believe he wasn't part of the story." Nathan looked away. The pain hit deep, but he understood. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the crayon drawing, the one Finn left under his doormat. "I think they were hoping I'd show up anyway," he said, handing it to her. She unfolded it, eyes scanning the simple lines. Her lips parted, and for a moment she looked like the girl from 13 years ago, full of life, full of dreams. "He never showed me this," she whispered. "He draws a lot, but not this." Nathan sat beside her. "Let me help, not just financially. Let me be there, for them, for you, whatever time we've got left." Grace was silent, then nodded once. "They need a father. Just don't make promises you can't keep." "I won't," Nathan said. Behind them, Leo stepped out from the small bedroom, rubbing his eyes. "Mom, who's—" Grace motioned him over. "Come here, baby." Leo came to her side and she gently touched his hair. "This is Nathan. He's an old friend." Leo's gaze shifted to the man beside her. "You look like the man in my pictures." Nathan smiled gently. "That's because I am." Leo tilted his head. "Did you really know Mom in San Francisco?" "I did," Nathan said, "and I've thought about her every day since." Leo stepped forward and placed a folded paper into Nathan's hand. Another drawing. 2 boys, a woman in a chair, a man holding her hand. Underneath, "Don't leave this time." Nathan's voice broke. "I won't," and he meant it. The next week passed in a blur of quiet effort. Nathan visited the duplex every morning, sometimes with groceries, sometimes just to sit with Grace while she sipped tea through shallow breaths. He didn't push. He listened. He learned. Finn and Leo, meanwhile, carried the weight of adulthood far too well for their age. They left for deliveries before sunrise, weaving through Portland's neighborhoods on rusted bikes, returning with tired eyes and cold fingers. They tried not to complain. But Nathan noticed. He noticed the holes in their shoes. He noticed the way Leo coughed after riding in the rain. He noticed how Finn rubbed his wrists when he thought no one was looking, like they hurt from carrying too many bags. It crushed him. One evening, as the sun dipped behind a wall of gray clouds, Nathan sat with the boys at the kitchen table. Grace had fallen asleep early. Finn was sketching something on the back of a takeout flyer, lines and circles, solar panels over a sloped roof. "What's that?" Nathan asked. Finn shrugged. "Just a dream. A delivery hub that runs on sunlight. No gas bikes, no fumes." Nathan's voice caught. "You thought of that yourself?" "Yeah. Been planning it in my head for months." Nathan smiled, a flicker of pride blooming in his chest. "That's incredible." Leo set down his pencil and looked up. "But we'll never build it. Not with what we make." Nathan leaned in. "What if I helped you?" Both boys froze. "You mean, for real?" Leo asked. "For real," Nathan said. "We could build a model first. Test it. Maybe even pitch it one day." Finn's eyes widened. "You'd do that?" Nathan nodded. "I want to. You two are brilliant." Leo grinned. The first full smile Nathan had seen on his face. But later that night, as Nathan helped clean up, he spotted a note on the counter, written in shaky handwriting. "Final notice, rent due in 5 days." He picked it up slowly, his stomach sinking. The boys didn't know, or maybe they did, and just didn't speak of it. Either way, the pressure they lived under was unbearable. The next morning he returned with a solution. Not a check, not a lecture, a binder. Inside were printouts. Application forms for Portland's best lung specialist clinic, housing transfer papers, school enrollment options for the boys. He set it on the table in front of Grace. "I want to move you to a better facility," he said gently. "And the boys, I want them to stay with me. Just until you're stronger, longer, if needed. You don't have to decide now." Grace touched the binder, fingers trembling. "I can't pay for any of this." "You won't have to," Nathan replied. "This isn't charity. It's what I should have done years ago." Her eyes filled, but she blinked the tears away. "They'll be scared." "I'll take it slow," he said. "One step at a time." That night, Finn tucked another drawing into Nathan's jacket before he left. This one showed a small house with solar panels and a garden out front. Inside the window, 4 stick figures stood smiling. 2 boys, 1 woman, 1 man. Nathan traced his finger over the crayon sun, bright and beaming. In the silence of his car, he whispered, "I'm not leaving this time." And this time, he wouldn't. The transfer happened fast. By Friday morning, Grace lay in a clean, private room at the Portland Lung Institute. Soft linens, filtered air, machines that hummed instead of beeped. She blinked slowly, eyes adjusting to the light as Nathan entered, holding a bouquet of white lilies. "Smells like a forest in here," she murmured, smiling weakly. He placed the flowers beside her. "Figured you'd appreciate oxygen in all forms." She chuckled, then coughed, holding her ribs. Always the clever one. Outside, Finn and Leo sat in the waiting area, their backpacks slung beside them. They hadn't spoken much during the ride over, too nervous, too alert. Nathan knelt in front of them. "She's going to get better care here, the best." Finn nodded slowly. Does she have to stay here forever?" "No," Nathan said. "Just until her lungs get stronger. It's not forever, it's just what she needs." Leo fiddled with a button on his sleeve. "Where do we go?" Nathan hesitated, then reached into his coat and handed Finn a key. Sleek, silver, engraved with the letter B. "My place," he said softly. "You'll have your own rooms. There's a big kitchen and a garden on the roof." Finn stared. "For real?" Nathan nodded. "For real." The boys looked at each other, then at the key. That night, as they walked through Nathan's glass-fronted townhouse, Finn whispered, "This place is huge." Leo's jaw dropped. "We can see the whole city." Nathan led them upstairs. "This is the guest wing, but we'll change that soon. Leo, you get the east room, good lighting for painting. Finn, you get the one with the skylight." Finn turned slowly, eyes catching on a solar panel display built into the wall. "That's a Model Phi ray cell. It's still in prototype." Nathan smiled. "You really know your stuff." Finn touched the glass with reverence. "I built a paper version of this once." "You'll build the real thing soon." Leo wandered into his room and gasped. A full canvas easel sat near the window, a set of untouched acrylics beside it. He turned, stunned. "You did this?" "I figured we could all start fresh," Nathan said. "You deserve space to dream." But the joy was short-lived. 2 days later, Nathan returned from a hospital visit to find the boys sitting silent in the living room. A letter sat on the table. Leo handed it to him. "A man came, said he's family." Nathan unfolded the note. Legal language, custody threat. The name at the bottom made his stomach clench. Paul Linwood, Grace's uncle, the man who hadn't visited once in 13 years. "He said we'd live with him if you tried to keep us," Finn said, voice shaky. "Said Mom agreed." "She didn't," Nathan replied quickly. "She wouldn't." Finn looked up, eyes clouded. "Are we going to be taken away?" "No," Nathan said, firmer now. "No one's taking you anywhere." He paced, mind spinning. Then he picked up the phone and called Grace. She answered weakly. "Hey, boys okay?" Nathan's voice shook. "Paul came. He left a letter. He's threatening to take them." There was silence on the line, then a sigh. "I told him no. I told him we're fine, but he always had a way of twisting things." "I'll handle it," Nathan said. "You rest." After he hung up, Finn walked over, holding something in his hand. A crumpled drawing. A house with 3 chimneys, 2 trees, and a heart over the roof. Underneath, in red marker, "This time we stay." Nathan took the drawing, eyes stinging. "Yes," he whispered, "you stay." Nathan stood on the hospital balcony, phone pressed to his ear, heart pounding. Below, the city moved on. Cars rushing, people walking, oblivious to the storm inside him. "Are you sure?" he asked quietly. "Yes." Grace's voice rasped through the line. "I asked him to stop. I begged him. He still went behind my back." Nathan's grip tightened. "He's not taking them." Grace hesitated. "I think he believes I'm not going to make it." "You will," Nathan said firmly. "And even if you need time, I'll protect them. I swear." That evening, Nathan sat at his dining room table with a lawyer named Dana Lowell. Mid-40s, sharp eyes, sleeves rolled up. She flipped through the document Nathan had just handed over. "A notarized letter from Grace," he explained, "saying she wants me to care for Finn and Leo. Full permission. And I've already started the paperwork for guardianship." Dana nodded. "This will help. But Paul's claiming you had no involvement for 13 years. The court will ask why." Nathan's jaw clenched. "Because I didn't know. Because my assistant filtered every personal message. I want to find out how many emails were deleted." Dana raised an eyebrow. "That could change everything." "I need it," Nathan said. "I won't lose them because of someone else's choice." The next morning, he stormed into the downtown office of Brooks Renewables. His executive assistant, Margot, the same one who'd been with him since the early days, looked up, startled. "Nathan, I wasn't expecting—" He held up his hand. "How many emails did you block from Grace Linwood?" Her face drained of color. "I don't recall." "Yes, you do. You filtered them. Probably thought you were protecting me from someone wanting money. You didn't even ask." "Nathan, You erased years of my life," he snapped. "Years with my sons." Margot's eyes shimmered. I thought she was just another person chasing a payout." "She was the mother of my children," he said, voice cracking. There was a long silence. Finally, she whispered, "I'm sorry." "Sorry won't undo it," he said, "but it will go in your deposition." That night, back at the house, Nathan didn't speak much. He watched Finn work on a solar turbine model, watched Leo sketch a field full of wildflowers. So much life in them. So much he could have missed. Finn looked up. "You okay?" Nathan smiled faintly. "Yeah, just thinking." Leo came over, holding a folded paper. "I drew this today." Nathan opened it. 4 stick figures again. This time they were in a courtroom, facing a shadowy man in a tie. Above them was a big green checkmark. "You think we'll win?" Leo asked. Nathan stared at the drawing, throat tight. "We're not going to lose." Later that night, Grace called. "I heard from Paul's attorney," she said. "They're filing for emergency custody." "I'm ready," Nathan told her. "I've got your letter. The boys' school records, DNA tests are scheduled." Grace paused. "DNA tests?" "I want no doubt," he said. "If a judge needs proof I'm their father, I'll give it." A silence followed, then a soft, choked laugh. "You've changed." "I had to," Nathan replied. "They changed me." After the call, Nathan found Finn asleep on the couch, blueprints across his chest. Leo had curled beside him, head resting on his brother's arm. Nathan covered them with a blanket and placed the courtroom drawing on the mantel. It wasn't just a sketch, it was a promise. The morning sun broke through the Portland haze as Nathan stood in front of the courthouse. The air was brisk, heavy with anticipation. Inside his jacket pocket was a folded piece of paper. Leo's courtroom drawing. He pressed his hand against it. It grounded him. Finn and Leo stood on either side, wearing collared shirts and quiet determination. "You nervous?" Finn asked. Nathan looked down, smiling gently. "Yeah, but that's okay. Some things are worth fighting for." Inside the courtroom, Paul Linwood sat with his lawyer, a man in a slick navy suit and an impatient glare. Paul didn't look at the boys. He barely looked at Grace, who sat in a wheelchair beside Dana, her oxygen tube in place, her face pale but steady. Judge Whitmore, a silver-haired woman with kind but unreadable eyes, opened the session. "We're here to determine temporary guardianship of Finn and Leo Linwood. Mr. Paul Linwood is petitioning for full custody. Mr. Nathan Brooks is contesting. Let's proceed." Paul's attorney stood. "Your Honor, my client is the boy's only blood relative who's been consistently involved." "That's not true," Finn said suddenly. The courtroom turned. Nathan reached to hush him, but the judge held up a hand. "Let him speak." Finn stood, voice shaking. "He's never come to our house. Not once. Not even when Mom got sick. But Nathan brought her here, got her better doctors, helped us." Leo added, "He gave me paint and a room with real sunlight." The judge nodded slowly, then looked at Paul. "Mr. Linwood, is that accurate?" Paul shifted. "I was giving them space. Enough," Dana said, standing. "Your Honor, we've submitted Grace Linwood's notarized letter, DNA results confirming Mr. Brooks is the boy's biological father, and a sworn statement from Mr. Brooks's former assistant admitting she deleted all of Grace's emails, without his knowledge." The judge glanced through the documents. "These are substantial. Ms. Linwood, do you wish to speak?" Grace wheeled forward slightly. Her voice came out thin but clear. "I sent those messages. He never got them. But when he found out, he showed up. Not with guilt, with love. The boys are safe with him." Nathan's throat tightened. The judge leaned back, hands steepled. "Mr. Brooks, do you wish to say anything?" He stood slowly. "Only that I missed 13 years. Not because I wanted to, but because I didn't know. I'll never get that time back, but I'll spend the rest of my life making sure they feel what I didn't. Wanted. Safe. Loved." For a long moment, the judge said nothing. Then, "Custody is awarded to Mr. Brooks. Ms. Linwood's wishes, the children's voices, and the supporting evidence make this decision clear. Case closed. Finn grabbed Nathan's hand. Leo cried. Not loudly, just a quiet sob, like something had cracked open after holding too much weight. Outside, the clouds had broken. Grace looked up at Nathan. "You kept your promise." He smiled. "We're just getting started." That night, back at the house, the boys built a cardboard fort in the living room. Leo taped up drawings of the courtroom scene, this time with a big gold star above their heads. Finn added a cutout sun, beaming from the ceiling. Nathan watched from the doorway, eyes stinging. He didn't just get custody, he got a family. The next few weeks unfolded like a new season in Nathan's life. Quieter, warmer, fuller. With the custody battle behind them, and Grace recovering steadily in the hospital, the house slowly transformed from a sleek modern shell into a real home. Leo's drawings filled the hallway walls. Finn's inventions started overtaking the dining room table. One Saturday morning, Nathan found Finn hunched over a miniature wind turbine, wires spread across cardboard. His tongue stuck slightly out, concentrating. "Need help?" Nathan asked. Finn looked up. "Nope, I'm almost done." "What's it for?" "Our school's science expo," he said, tightening a bolt. "But I added a solar bypass so it stores energy even when it's cloudy." Nathan's brows rose. "That's brilliant." Finn shrugged, but a shy smile broke across his face. "You think so?" "I know so," Nathan said. Just then, Leo burst into the room with a paintbrush in hand, streaks of color on his cheek. "Come and see, I finished it." Nathan followed him to the guest room turned studio, where a wide canvas sat by the window. It was a painted landscape, not just of any place, but their rooftop garden, glowing under sunset light. At the center was a silhouette of 4 figures, holding hands. Leo pointed. "That's us, and Mom, even if she's not home yet." Nathan swallowed the lump in his throat. "It's beautiful, Leo." That afternoon, he brought the boys into his study and pulled back a curtain, revealing blueprints on the wall, outlines of a building made of reclaimed wood, solar panels, and greenery. "We're starting something," Nathan said. "A cafe. One that serves local food, runs on clean energy, and gives back to the community." Finn blinked. "Like a real place?" "Green Haven," Nathan said, "and I want you both to help me build it." Leo lit up. "Can I paint the walls?" "You're leading the mural team," Nathan said. "And Finn, I've already reserved you a corner of the lab space." Finn sat, speechless, eyes wide. Then he whispered, "We're not just kids anymore." "No," Nathan said softly. "You're my legacy." That evening, they visited Grace together. She was sitting up now, color returning to her face. When Nathan shared the cafe idea, her eyes brimmed. "You're really doing it," she said. "Something for them, for us." Nathan nodded. "We'll build it with our hands, as a family." Grace reached out and gently held his hand. "You've changed." Nathan looked down at their fingers, intertwined, and replied, "They changed me." Just before leaving, Leo pulled out a folded page from his sketchbook, a logo design. A stylized green leaf curled into the shape of a heart. Inside, a sun. Underneath, Green Haven Cafe. Grace pressed the drawing to her chest. "That's what healing looks like." That night, as Nathan tucked the boys into bed, Finn whispered, "Hey, Dad?" Nathan paused. "Yeah?" "I used to think I'd grow up and work alone, invent stuff in secret, but I don't want to be alone anymore." Nathan leaned down and kissed his forehead. "You never will be again." Down the hall, the painting of the rooftop glowed in moonlight. A new beginning, framed in love. 3 days after Leo's cafe logo drawing was finalized, Nathan stood outside the future site of Green Haven, a vacant corner lot nestled between a florist and a bookstore on East Alberta Street. The bones of the old bakery still stood, brick crumbling, windows boarded up, but in Nathan's mind it already buzzed with laughter and light. "Looks like a dump," Finn muttered beside him. Nathan smiled. Every great place starts with a little dust. Leo pointed toward the far wall. Can I paint the mural there? That wall's yours, Nathan said. Every inch. Plans moved fast. Construction crews arrived. Nathan hired local contractors who specialized in sustainable materials. He involved the boys in every step. Finn helped with solar panel layout. Leo picked color palettes for the walls, but the progress stirred ripples. One afternoon, while reviewing permits at City Hall, Nathan ran into someone unexpected. Still playing philanthropist, Nathan? Paul Linwood's voice cut through the hallway like a cold draft. Nathan turned slowly. I'm not playing anything. Paul sneered. So what's the angle? PR stunt? Make headlines with a green cafe and those kids as your poster boys? Nathan's voice stayed calm. They're not a stunt. They're my sons. Paul stepped closer, face tightening. They'll never be yours. Not really. Blood's not the same as time. I was there before you were even a whisper. Nathan stared back, jaw clenched. Were you? Then why weren't you there when Grace collapsed, or when Finn had to sell his sketchbook to pay for groceries? Paul flinched. You don't know what you're talking about. I know enough, Nathan said. Stay away. Paul left without another word, but the threat lingered. The night, Finn sat on the back porch, wind chimes clinking above. He held a soldering iron in one hand, the beginnings of a bike-powered phone charger in the other. Nathan joined him, a mug of tea in a hand. You're quiet. Finn shrugged. Just thinking. About? He hesitated. Do you think Paul's right? That we're not really yours? That it's too late? Nathan sat beside him. Look at me, Finn. The boy turned slowly. You are mine. Not because of court papers, because when I look at you, I see the future I almost lost, and the life I want to build. Finn swallowed. I didn't ask for all this. A cafe, a new school, a new dad. Nathan's voice softened. You didn't ask, but you deserved it, and I'm here now, every step. Finn set the charger down and leaned into Nathan's side. Thanks. Inside, Leo was taping a sketch to the kitchen wall, a new one. A treehouse nestled in solar panels, branches shaped like hearts. Below it, in neat handwriting, built together. Later that week, a letter arrived. Paul had filed an appeal. Not for custody this time, but for shared legal decision-making. Nathan read it in silence, then slid it into a folder. He looked up at the boys, now racing toy cars across the living room floor. They're not just my legacy, he whispered. They're my compass. And he would fight, again, to protect their direction. The envelope from Paul's attorney sat unopened on Nathan's desk, its presence loud in the quiet of his study. Finn knocked once before entering. You okay? Nathan looked up, eyes tired. Yeah, just prepping. For what? Nathan held up the letter. Paul filed a petition for joint legal rights. It means he wants to be involved in your decisions. School, health, even Green Haven. Finn frowned. Why now? Because he's angry, Nathan said. That we didn't choose him. That we built something without him. Finn stepped closer. He didn't build anything. He just watched. Nathan stood, crossing the room to the window. Outside, Leo was painting a welcome sign on a wooden board. Opening soon. Green Haven Cafe. Nathan sighed. I need to be ready, and I want to protect everything we've built. That night, Nathan met with Dana at her office. He slid the letter across the desk. He's going for legal authority, he said, and I won't let him. Dana scanned it, jaw tight. We'll need to respond fast. Do you still have Grace's letter? Nathan nodded. It's in the safe. I also had the boy's birth certificate certified, and I ran the DNA test. Results came in yesterday. Dana paused. And? He handed her the file. There's no doubt. She smiled faintly. Let's make sure the court sees that. The next morning, Nathan took Finn and Leo to the courthouse to file a response. As they walked through the rotunda, Finn tugged his sleeve. Will the judge believe us again? Nathan crouched to meet his eyes. She'll see the truth. And we'll back it with proof this time. Leo added quietly, "Do you think Paul even knows our middle names?" Nathan blinked, then smiled sadly. "He doesn't. But I do. Finn Elias, Leo James." The boys smiled, proud. In the days that followed, Nathan gathered everything. Grace's notarized letter affirming Nathan's sole authority, emails retrieved from her old account, time-stamped, school records with Nathan listed as emergency contact, even voice recordings, one from a hospital nurse who remembered Paul yelling when denied power of attorney. But the most powerful moment came from Leo. He handed Nathan a sealed envelope. "Can you give this to the judge?" Nathan opened it. Inside was a simple sketch. 2 trees, one small and one large, their roots entwined. Beneath it, "He grew us, not him." Nathan's throat tightened. "She'll see it." At the next court session, Dana presented every piece of evidence. Paul's attorney attempted to discredit the emotional bond, claiming Nathan swooped in for publicity. But when Leo's drawing was entered into evidence, the courtroom hushed. The judge examined it for a long moment before saying, "Sometimes the clearest testimony comes from the smallest voice." Paul didn't speak as he left the courtroom. Outside, Grace waited in her wheelchair. The sun touched her face gently. "How did it go?" she asked. Nathan knelt beside her. "He's out. It's official." She exhaled, a soft smile forming. "Good. I didn't fight this far just to watch them get taken." Finn and Leo ran to her side. Leo handed her the original sketch. Grace brushed her fingers over it. "You're stronger than I ever was." Finn said, "We're stronger because of you." That night, Nathan placed the drawing on the cafe's entry wall. It would be the first thing people saw. A reminder that roots don't lie. The courtroom echoed with quiet tension as Nathan sat beside Dana, his lawyer. Across from them, Paul sat stiffly in a gray suit, face unreadable. Judge Moreno entered, her gaze sweeping the room. She adjusted her glasses and began. "This is a continuation of the custody appeal filed by Mr. Paul Linwood. Based on new submissions, the court has reviewed additional testimony and documents, including a notarized letter from Ms. Grace Harper and DNA test results." Paul's attorney stood. "Your Honor, while we acknowledge the DNA confirmation, my client believes Mr. Brooks is leveraging his wealth to unfairly influence these boys' futures." Dana rose smoothly. "Your Honor, Mr. Brooks is not buying loyalty. He's investing in love, in safety, in opportunity. He has stepped up when Mr. Linwood stepped aside." The judge raised a hand. "I've reviewed the timeline. I see a consistent pattern of care from Mr. Brooks and concerning absence from Mr. Linwood. But the most compelling piece of evidence—" She reached to her right and held up Leo's sketch, the trees with shared roots. "Was drawn by a child. And sometimes that's where the truth is most visible." Paul shifted in his seat, jaw tight. "However," the judge continued, "before finalizing the order, I would like to hear from someone directly involved." She turned to Nathan. "Mr. Brooks, would you like to speak?" Nathan rose, palms steady. "I've made mistakes," he said. "I missed 13 years, and I can't get those back. But since the moment Finn dropped that birth certificate, I've tried to earn every second forward." He looked toward the boys, seated quietly behind him with Grace. "I didn't just find my sons. I found my purpose. Leo paints what he sees in others. Finn builds what he dreams the world could be. And they made me believe I could change too." He paused, voice thick. "They don't need a guardian who shows up when it's convenient. They need someone who fights for them. Always." Judge Moreno nodded slowly. "Thank you." Then she turned to Paul. "And you, sir?" Paul stood reluctantly. "I provided for Grace when no one else did. I paid for her medication, for the roof over her head." Nathan didn't flinch. He knew what was coming. "But you didn't hold her hand in the hospital," Dana said, "or show up when she couldn't breathe. Nathan did." Judge Moreno tapped her pen twice. "In light of all evidence and testimony, I deny the appeal. Mr. Brooks retains full legal custody. This court is adjourned." Paul stood frozen, but it was over. Outside the courthouse, the sun broke through scattered clouds. Leo stepped into Nathan's arms. Finn followed. Grace sat in her wheelchair nearby, tears sliding silently down her cheek. "They chose you," she whispered. Nathan crouched beside her. "No, you did." Later that evening, as twilight settled, Nathan unsealed a box in his office. Inside, a folder labeled Harper and a velvet pouch containing a tiny windmill pendant, a gift Grace once gave him after their conference in San Francisco. He walked it out to Finn. "This was from your mom. I never opened it. Until now." Finn took the pendant, tracing the tiny blades. "It spins with the wind." Nathan smiled. "Just like you, always moving toward the light." That night, the pendant hung over Finn's bed, quietly turning in the breeze. A symbol, not of what was lost, but what had finally been found. The autumn sun spilled gold over the front porch of Nathan's home as Finn darted out the door, barefoot, holding a notebook high above his head. "Dad!" he shouted, breathless. "You've got to see this!" Nathan looked up from the herb garden. "What is it?" Finn flipped to a page with a hand-drawn blueprint, a wind-powered water filter made from recycled materials. "I got the idea from your old lab sketch, but I added the rain catch." Nathan blinked, heart swelling at the word. "Dad," Finn had said. "Not Mr. Brooks, not Sir." He reached for the notebook, scanning the lines. This is brilliant, Finn." Finn beamed. "Leo helped too. He's painting the presentation board now." Inside, Leo knelt on the hardwood floor, brush in hand. He looked up and grinned. "I'm calling it the Rain Giver. Finn's idea, but I made it look like hope." Nathan stepped in, watching the blue hues wash across the cardboard. Deep skies, gentle clouds, and a single drop falling into a stream. At the center, a small family stood beneath a shelter made of green leaves. He crouched beside Leo. "You boys, you're the artists of a future I never knew I needed." Leo handed him the brush. "Want to help?" Nathan dipped it in white and added a streak of light from the sky, connecting the clouds to the shelter below. They worked in silence. And in that stillness, family rooted deeper. Later that evening, Grace sat upright in her hospital bed, color slowly returning to her cheeks. "I heard they called you Dad," she whispered as Nathan entered, carrying a thermos of homemade soup. Nathan chuckled, setting it on the tray. "I'm still recovering from it." "They didn't say it lightly," she said. "They meant it." He sat beside her. "I meant it too." Her hand trembled slightly as she reached for the spoon. Nathan helped her lift it. "You're stronger than you think," he said gently. Grace smiled, then noticed the corner of a drawing peeking from his coat pocket. "What's that?" He pulled it out. Leo's painting. "They're calling it the Rain Giver. It's for the school project next week. They're entering as a team." Her eyes misted. "Together?" Nathan nodded. "Always." That weekend, they walked the boys through their future cafe building, a former bicycle repair shop with large windows and exposed beams. It smelled like sawdust and potential. "Here," Finn pointed. "We'll install solar panels along this wall. And this space," Leo added, tapping the opposite corner, "can hold local art. For kids, from the neighborhood." Nathan placed a hand on each of their shoulders. "Then let's build it." On the way out, Finn paused at the old glass door. Someone had scratched words into it years ago. "Open for change." Leo ran a finger across the letters. "Can we keep that?" Nathan smiled. "We don't change what's honest. We build on it." That night, he tucked the boys into bed, the windmill pendant spinning slowly on Finn's lamp. "Good night, Dad," Finn murmured. Nathan kissed his forehead. "Sweet dreams, son." In Leo's room, a fresh canvas leaned against the wall, an unfinished painting of a tree, roots and all. "Tomorrow I'll finish it," Leo whispered, eyes closing. Nathan stood at the doorway, watching the soft rise and fall of their chests. For the first time in years, the house didn't echo, it breathed. The morning of the cafe launch arrived with soft rain, tapping like applause on the windows of Green Haven. Nathan stood behind the counter, polishing a glass, watching as Finn adjusted the last solar-powered lantern near the entrance. The sign above them, hand-painted by Leo, read, "Green Haven, for the future we build together." Across the room, Leo stepped back from a mural he'd finished the night before. It depicted a tree made of recycled parts and solar panels, its roots wrapping around a birth certificate nailed gently to the center of the trunk. Finn's birth certificate, the same one that had once fluttered onto Nathan's porch in a rainstorm. Now it stood like a seal, a promise. "Think Mom will like it?" Leo asked, wiping his paint-streaked hands on his apron. Nathan smiled. "She'll love it, just like I do." The front door chimed. Grace's wheelchair entered first, pushed gently by a nurse. Her eyes lit up, not at the space, but at the boys, her boys, who ran to her. "You two did all this?" she asked, voice still raspy but stronger. Leo nodded, and Dad helped. Grace looked at Nathan. Their eyes met, a quiet forgiveness passing between them. "I don't know what to say," she whispered. Nathan kneeled beside her. "Then just stay. That's all we need." As guests filtered in, neighbors marveled at the recycled decor and compost menu. Local artists had paintings on the walls. High school students offered poetry about clean energy. And in one corner, Finn ran a demo of his water filter for curious kids. At noon, Nathan stepped forward, clearing his throat. "Before we open officially, I want to share why this place exists," he began. "Months ago, a boy knocked on my door, soaked from the rain. He dropped a bag and a piece of paper that changed my life, a birth certificate. It had my name on it, my name and my heart." Gasps rippled gently through the crowd. I was lost in success. I'd forgotten what truly mattered, but Finn, Leo, and Grace reminded me. Family, truth, and building something that lasts, not just in profits, but in love. He stepped aside, nodding to Finn, who held up the laminated certificate and placed it in the center display case. "From a delivery bag," Finn said, smiling, "to the heart of Green Haven." The applause was quiet, emotional, wrapped in warmth. Later, as evening fell, Nathan sat beside Grace outside the cafe under the covered awning. The rain had returned, soft and steady, but they didn't mind. "Do you remember that conference in San Francisco?" she asked. He chuckled. "You wore a dress with sunflowers, argued with me about wind turbines." Grace smiled. "I liked your passion, but I needed your presence." Nathan looked at her. "You have it now. And always." From inside, Leo waved at them, his fingers still stained in green paint. Finn darted behind the counter, adjusting the thermostat. "Look at them," Grace whispered. "They're home." Nathan reached over, taking her hand. "So are you." Above them, the lanterns lit up, casting soft gold across the windows, tiny suns born from solar panels. And on the door, beneath the painted logo, a handwritten note read, "Rain brought us together. Love built the rest." The soft glow of a morning filtered through the cafe windows, casting golden light on the mural Leo had painted. It was the grand opening's second day, and the energy inside Green Haven felt different, like hope had taken root. Grace sat near the window, her complexion brighter, her breathing less labored. She watched as Finn polished the solar lanterns and Leo organized his art prints on a small display stand. Nathan walked in carrying a tray of fresh muffins. His shirt sleeves were rolled, a smudge of flour on his collar. He paused, watching the scene unfold with a smile that came from somewhere deeper than pride, something closer to healing. "Morning, team," he said, placing the tray near the counter. "Dad," Finn called from the display, "we got a school asking if we can do a field trip here." Nathan raised an eyebrow. "Already?" Leo grinned. "They want to see Finn's rainwater model and maybe paint a wall?" Grace chuckled, brushing her fingertips across the rim of her coffee cup. "You know, This cafe isn't just a business, it's our second chance. Nathan knelt beside her. You gave me that chance, Grace. I nearly missed everything. She shook her head gently. You didn't. You found your way back, through the rain. They both looked at the birth certificate in the display case, now framed in walnut wood. Beneath it, Leo had written a caption. From one storm, a family bloomed. The doorbell jingled. A tall man in a pressed suit stepped in, Mr. Latham, a venture partner from Nathan's past. He glanced around, surprised. Nathan Brooks? He asked. This your latest venture? Nathan stood straight. It is. But this one isn't for profit. Mr. Latham chuckled. You walked away from $1 billion green investment summit to serve muffins? I walked into something better, Nathan said quietly. Legacy. Latham nodded slowly, then pointed at the certificate. That your boy? Nathan looked toward Finn, now showing a customer how to light a solar lantern. Both of them are, he replied, and she's their mother, Grace. Latham studied them. You changed. Nathan's voice softened. No. I returned to who I should have been. By noon, the cafe buzzed with life. Grace gave a short speech, her voice still recovering but full of conviction. We named this place Green Haven, not because of what it sells, but what it shelters. Growth, healing, and people who choose to love, even after mistakes. Finn and Leo stood beside her, holding her hands. As the crowd applauded, Nathan felt something slide into his hand. It was a folded note. Leo whispered, "Open it later." That night, after closing, Nathan unfolded the paper. It was a new drawing. A house surrounded by solar panels. Grace on the porch. Nathan holding her hand. Finn and Leo playing in the yard. Above them all, in neat handwriting, "This is what we built, Dad. Don't ever leave again." Nathan set the drawing on his desk beside the birth certificate. Both, now symbols. Not just of what was found, but what they vowed never to lose again. Outside it began to rain, but inside Green Haven the lights stayed on.